Hey guys, welcome back. In the last lecture, we practiced the Stripe customer resource. We created, updated, and deleted customer from our app to Stripe and also implemented the method to find or create the customer on Stripe into Stripe service class as well. In this lecture, we will do similar thing for Stripe card and tokens. Okay, so here you can see that I am at the Stripe API reference, so you need to open it and you can find tokens inside the core resources. Okay, so click on the token, but before discussing about the token, I want to explain few basic but important points about the Stripe tokens. So a Stripe token is used to collect the sensitive data or bank details or personally identifiable information directly from customer in a source manner, and the Stripe tokens can be created at both client and server side. But we need to know the difference that when we create Stripe tokens from client side and when we create Stripe token from server side. So client side token generation is used or can be performed when you use or integrate Stripe checkout form into your application. In this case, when you submit card details along with the form, then your Stripe publishable key is used to generate the token for accepting card on Stripe using some JavaScript. Okay, and you can also use token generation at the API level or server side as well. In this case, you need to authenticate your request using your Stripe secret key, which we are already doing. Okay, and here one more thing that you need to keep in mind that after generating a token, you cannot use this token twice. Okay, it means you can use a Stripe token only once. Okay, and we will see this later in this lecture as well. Okay, now it's time to see how the token APIs work. Okay, so to generate a Stripe token, you either need a card detail, bank account number, personal individual details, personally identifiable information details, and so on. Okay, or in other words, you can create tokens for multiple resources on Stripe. Okay, so here you can see that, for example, if you can see at the token object, you can see that you can create token for card as well, or you can create a bank account token, you can create a pill token, PII, sorry, personally identifiable information. You can create token for account as well. Okay, but here in this course project we will generate token for card, so we will only practice how to create tokens for a card. Okay, so let's try this in Rails console first. Okay, so you know that first come to the create a card token link. Okay, because we will create the card token. Okay, so we will use this Stripe token create method. Okay, so let's try this in Rails console first. Okay, so to authenticate request from the Stripe, let's instantiate the Stripe service class first into your Rails console. So open the Rails console. Okay, and in this console what you need to do, that first Stripe the instantiate the Stripe service object. So Stripe service equal to Stripe service dot new. Okay, now to create a token, you need to use Stripe token create API. Here you can see that what the Stripe is using, that Stripe token create card and then provide the card details here. Okay, and card details must include the card number which you want to create on Stripe, and the expiry validity of the card. It will be divided into two attributes, that is expiry month, expiry year, and the CVC. Okay, so just copy this text. Okay, so let's copy this and assign this into some token variable here. So token equal to, and paste it here, and now submit this. Okay, so when you submit this, this will create a card token for you. Okay, so you can verify it by token. Okay, so this is the detail. Here you can see that it has created a card, and the card details like last four, okay, and expiry month, expiry year, and the brand of the card, okay, and the client IP, and the created at time or created at time. Okay, so this is the token. Okay, now since we generated the token, so we need to use this token, and we can use this token either to create charge or Stripe, or to create a card on Stripe. Okay, so let's use this token for creating a card. Okay, now to create a card on a Stripe, you need to call Stripe customer create source API. Okay, but before using that, let's look at the required arguments to create a card for the customer or to assign a card for the customer. So go to the Stripe API reference, and here you can see, go to the cards inside the payment methods. Okay, because card is usually attached as a payment method to a customer. So open the cards. Okay, and let's click on the create card. Sorry, create card. Okay, so here you can see that it uses Stripe customer create source method, and it requires two argument, that is a customer ID and the source token IDs. Okay, so we already created a token. Okay, and now what we need to do, that we need to create a customer first, then we can assign this card to that customer. Okay, so let's switch to the Rails console and create a customer. So go to the console, and here you can see customer equal to, sorry, and we know that how we can create customer on Stripe. So Stripe customer dot create, and here you can provide details like it's sorry, it has created an empty customer. We need to provide some details here. Sorry. So you can provide name here. So let's say you can provide entry code. You can provide any name, whatever you want. Okay. So phone number for this customer. So provide a string here, and then email for this customer. So email, and here what we can write like underscore @example.com. Okay, and close this. Now submit this, and when you submit this, you can see that a customer has been created on the Stripe. So to see the details of this customer, what you can see, that you can verify. So you here you can see that this is the customer object that we have. So it is has some ID, the object of class customer, and here you can see other details like name, underscore, and other data like phone, and also available for that. So this is the phone. Okay, and this is the email available for that. This will create a customer on the Stripe. Now let's verify this on the Stripe. So what you need to do, that you need to open the Stripe dashboard first. Okay, so switch to the browser. Okay, and here you can see that I am already at the customers dashboard. Okay, so you can see this newly created customer on the Stripe at customer list page. Okay, so just to refresh this page, and here you can see that there are two customers, that one is the empty customer that we created by mistake, and here you can see the new customer Andrew Scott has been added here, and you can see that it's the name and email. Okay, so this is the new customer that we created using our Rails console. Okay, now since we have token and customer created, it's time to assign a payment method to that customer, because you can see that payment method is missing here. Okay, but we have a token and we have the customer. Okay, so now we can assign that card using token to this customer. Okay, so let's try this, but before that, let's see what we can use. So we can use this method, Stripe customer create source. Okay, so now come to the Rails console, and here you can assign, let's say, card equal to Stripe customer dot create source. Okay, and in this method, what attributes you need to provide, that first you need to provide customer ID. So you can provide customer dot ID. Okay, and then in source, what you need to provide, token dot ID, because you can see that we have created token here. Okay, previously, so you can provide token dot ID. Okay, and now you need to submit this request. Okay, and submit it. Here you can see that a card has been attached for the customer. So let's display the card details. Okay. So you can see this is the card ID, and this is assigned to this customer. You can see that customer ID has been added to the card. Okay. And now to verify this on the Stripe, you can go to the customer dashboard again, and you can refresh the page. And when you refresh the page, you can see that this card, when which we assigned to this customer using token, has been added to the entry code, the user we created recently, and you can see that this card is showing inside the payment method now. Okay, so here we created both token and card for the customer. Okay, now as we discussed initially that a token can be used only once. To see this, let's try to create the same card again. So what we can do, so we can just try to replicate this method. Okay, and when we do this, you will see there is an stripe error. Okay, so you can see that invalid request error, and the message is you cannot use a stripe token more than once. Okay, so it is clear that when you use a token once for whatever purpose, either to create a card or to create a charge, you cannot use that token anymore again. Okay, so you just need to be careful at this point. Okay, and avoid using stripe token more than once. Now let's move forward. So far we tried the token and card creation from our Rails console. Now it's time to implement these things into our Stripe service class. Okay. In our app, you know that we have customer model and workshop model, but let's discuss about the model only. So in our app, when customers submit the booking form, okay, so let me show you the booking form. You can see that, however, we haven't implemented yet the backend functionality, but you can see that when a customer submit this booking form, first we are capturing the customer data. So first we will create a customer, and then we will create card for this customer using these card details. Okay, so to create card here, we need to create card params and the stripe customer. Okay, so let's implement this method into the stripe service class. First we will implement a method for creating the token for card. This method requires the card param, so we will implement this method like this. So open your stripe service class, and into the stripe service class you can implement a method to create card like let's say just come to the method below, find or create customer, and here define a new customer, and here you can write, let's say, def create card token, because we are just creating token here. Okay, and this will accept some params, and this params is usually the card data. Okay, so just close this method, and inside this method what we need to call, that we need to copy the method like let's say stripe token dot create. Okay, and we will send this data or whatever the object is created here to some other method. Okay, and we will just implement that. So but first here implement the card details. Okay, so card details we can implement like, let's say, provide the card prompts inside the curly braces. So you can provide number, and the card number here can be, let's say, for example, if we are getting card inside the params, so we can provide params card number. Card number convert into a string. Okay, because we will submit the card data from browser, so it might come as integer. So let's add two string here. Now let me show you that why I choose this name card number as the params. So open the views file, and into the views go to the workshops, and you can find the booking form here, and in booking form you can see that what attributes I have selected: card number, CVV, and exp month and exp year. Okay, so I will use the same thing. Okay, so let's use that for now. So what we can do here, so first come to the stripe service class again, and here now what you need to provide exp month, and what you need to provide as argument, so params, and then exp month here. So make a comma and do the same thing for year. So exp year we require, because these two attributes exp year and exp month will validate the card's validity. Okay, terms, and then exp year. Okay, and do the same thing again, cvc or cvv, whatever you want to provide here. Okay, but we will submit cvv from the form, so that's why I'm using cvv inside the params here. Okay, so let's use params cvv. Okay, and save this. So this method has been saved now. Now we need to create a card for a customer. Okay, so let's implement method for creating a card to the customer. Okay, why? Because first we will get the Stripe customer ID and then we will submit the params for creating card. Okay, so we need to implement this method here. Let's say def and name your method is create Stripe customer card. Create Stripe card. Okay, and what we will accept here, params and the Stripe customer. And now close the body of this method, and inside this method what we need to do, that we need to invoke this method. Okay, because we are passing params to this card create card token method from, sorry, from this create Stripe customer card. Okay, so what we can do here, token equal to, and let's invoke this method. Okay, and now what you need to do, that you need to assign this card to customer, so we can simply use Stripe customer dot create source. And in this method what we need to provide, so Stripe customer dot id. Okay, because this id is necessary. And now what we need to provide as source, so just sorry, undo here, just remove this, and here let's say source, and this source will be the id of the token we just created or we just received here. Okay, so token dot id. Okay, and now save this. Now it's time to create a customer in our app and then we will test this flow. Okay, so create a customer first, but first let's restart the Rails console. Why? Because we implemented some methods inside the Stripe service class. Okay, so these are not applicable to invoke on already instantiated Stripe service class object. Okay, so save this file and come to the Rails console and exit from here, and let's restart again. And now here we need to create a customer. Okay, so we can create customer like customer equal to, okay, customer dot create, and then let's provide some values here. Full name, let's say full name will be Tarak Sharma. Okay, contact number, contact number could be, let's say for example anything, and the email, and email can be Tarak Sharma at the rate example.com. Okay, so this will create a new customer. Okay, so okay, sorry, there is some mistake in contact number, so let's correct this typo and now submit it. Okay, so you can see that it has created a new customer, and now when you access this customer you will see the details, that here is the id, full name, email, contact number, but Stripe customer id is nil. Why? Because this customer is just created inside our app only, not on the Stripe. Okay, and in the last lecture we discussed that we implemented this method for either find or create a new customer on the Stripe. Okay, so what we need to do to use this method, that first we need to instantiate the Stripe class object. So Stripe customer, sorry, Stripe service equal to Stripe service dot new. Okay, so let's instantiate it, and now what we can do, we can call this find or create customer method for creating a Stripe customer. So Stripe customer equal to Stripe service dot, you, now you can call this method. Okay, so just copy the text from here, sorry, save this and copy this method name with argument and paste it here or invoke here. Okay, now what this will do, that this will create a customer on the Stripe. Okay, so here you can see that customer has been created on Stripe, and the id has been updated inside the customer model. The Stripe customer id has been updated here, and you can verify it on Stripe by refreshing your customer's dashboard. So let's refresh this first. And here you can see that Tarak Sharma has been created, and here is the email. So payment method is still blank. Okay. So what we need to do now, that we need to create payment method for this customer. Okay. Now to create customer first, we need to prepare the card params. Okay, so let's prepare the card params at the terminal itself. So card params equal to, and what we can provide in this params, that card number, card number, and let's provide some mastercard here. So mastercard you can provide 12 times 5 and 4 times 4. So and then 4 times 4. Okay, and exp month here, let's say it's 10. Exp year, let's say 2024. Okay, and CVV, let's say it is 112. Okay, now submit this. Okay, so what card params we have? So we can see card params as stripe, a card number, expiry month, expiry year, and CVV. Okay, now what we need to do, that we need to invoke this method. Which method? So come to the stripe service class, this one, create stripe customer card. Okay, so just copy this, and what we will do here, that we will invoke this. So stripe first access the stripe customer. So here you can see that this is the detail. Okay, with Tarak Sharma, for the Tarak Sharma customer. Now stripe service dot, we can paste it here, but remove, fix this param what we defined as card param. So we defined the name as card params. Okay, so we can provide card params here. Okay, but first assign it to some object as well. So let's say it is the card object. Okay, and now submit this. And when you submit this, you can see there the card details. Okay, so you can see the a card has been created here with brand Mastercard, and this is the last four digits of card, that is 444, and expiry year, expiry month 10 and expiry year 2024. Okay, to verify it, go to the customer's dashboard and refresh your browser. Here you can see that the Mastercard payment method has been added to this Tarak Sharma user. Okay, and that's it. Okay, so in this lecture we learned about stripe tokens, cards, and we also tried these from our app as well. Okay, and I hope you like that, but now try this at your end and you will get much better with these resources. Okay, and if you feel stuck at any place, let me know. I will be happy to help you through the comment section. But before leaving, let me explain the stripe service class as well, that what changes we made today, that we made a method to create stripe customer card, and inside that stripe customer card method we are invoking this method to create card token first. Okay, and once the card token has been generated, we are using that token ID as the source. Okay, so that's all from this lecture. In the next lecture we will discuss about the charges API on the stripe. Why? Okay, why? Because we created customer, we generated tokens, and we assigned card as the payment method for that customer. Now what we need to do as the final step, that we need to enable our customers to be charged from Stripe, and we will do that in next lecture. Okay, so let's meet into the next lecture. Till then, tata, goodbye, take care, and stay safe.